Oh gosh. Why are you showing this?
It's coming for him.
I think this video is cursed. There's no way we're showing that and talking about
No,
that
we're
in
not.
this thing.
Don't worry.
That is insane.
I think
that would be the hot goss of life.
I know. I think what I want the cold open to be is him just laughing. Welcome to the Tiny Podium with Pastor Zach. I'm Pastor Zach, and today we're joined with Michael Chinchilla.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Hey, dude, you're taking a very aggressive stance on that couch. You're taking the whole thing. You're going arm to arm.
This might be like a weird thing. I haven't noticed until right now. Like I'm sitting in the crack, which I feel like is just like a faux pas.
Let's bleep crack, but leave the word in so people know what you said. What do you want to get into today?
Everything.
So this is a new platform, a new thing, what we're trying to do to expose everyone who wants to be part of Village to just what's going on. Who are we?
Right.
Who are us? We're in the office. Things are going around. We don't know who might pop in. Who might we?
There are people who jump in here?
No one has yet, but we have
might.
the third mic. We have the headphones.
There's these little kids.
I don't know who those kids are.
Who are these little kids running around?
I want people to learn a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Michael Chinchilla.
Yeah.
The story begins.
Speed round?
Speed round.
Okay, go.
I don't have questions set up for speed round.
What is this?
I got other segments.
Okay, let me speed round you.
All right, let's do it.
Pancakes, waffles.
Waffles.
Red, yellow.
Red.
Would you rather go to the moon or to the bottom of the ocean?
Moon.
Would you rather only wear high-waisted jeans for the rest of your life or jorts?
Jeans.
That's all I got.
So, Michael, you recently moved to Vancouver.
Yep.
And how's that going? How was the move? How was the transition?
It's good. Yeah. So I was in Calgary for the last couple of years, moved back. Now I'm in kind of Vancouver proper. Very different ball game. A number of different ways. There's like, 1,000 dogs to one baby ratio in Vancouver. Yeah.
What was the dogs to baby ratio in Calgary?
Probably like 200 to 1.
And if you disagree with that, put that in the comments what you think the ratio was.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I think I'm just making that up. But
yeah,
lost like hundreds of square feet, paying more money than I did in Calgary.
You went from one of the least expensive cities in Canada to the most expensive city.
Yeah. So it's not a good look for sure, but
it's been okay.
Great. You
want to talk about it?
It's been a bit tough. No, it's awesome. So yeah, me and my wife, my dog, best dog of all time.
I want to talk about your dog. Tell us a little bit about your doggy dog.
Okay, so he's a Bernedoodle.
We'll put a picture up right here.
Yeah. He's literally like the cutest thing you'll ever see in your entire life. He's awesome. So yeah, he's a Bernedoodle. It's the mix of a Bernese Mountain Dog and a Poodle. So he's hypoallergenic, doesn't shed.
Is he actually hyperallergenic?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a lie. That's like big pets have created this thing, but I don't think it's real.
So you're also the kind of guy who doesn't think we got to the moon. That's
no,
what you're
not
saying.
At all. I believe we got to the moon.
There's a couple other things behind you.
Moon is good.
Beyonce's the Illuminati.
Word's still out.
No, I haven't sneezed once around
Are
him.
you allergic to dogs?
No.
So what does that doesn't mean anything?
Exactly.
Have you always been a dog person?
I've loved dogs.
You've always loved dogs. Is this your first dog though?
No. So so as a kid, I remember my aunt for some reason would always get me to do a Christmas list. So I'd always write a Christmas list every single time.
Beautiful.
And dog is number one every single time. So for 5 years, I asked for a dog, never got a dog.
From ages what to what?
This is probably from ages like 4 to 9. Okay, so I'm like 9 years old or something.
Prime dog ages.
This is exactly. So I'm probably like 9, 10, something in that age group, and go to my aunt's house for Christmas. So in Spanish culture, you celebrate on the 24th.
Right.
You go all the way through the night. At midnight, that's when you celebrate Christmas. You open up your gifts. You do the whole thing.
So you do on the 25th.
Yeah, but you do all the dinners, everything.
Right.
You celebrate on the 24th, and then you start opening the gifts, and then you go to sleep, and then you don't really do much on Christmas Day.
Right. Kind of chill.
Yeah, super chill. So we're all staying up. Me and my cousins are like just slinging Super Smash Bros. Upstairs on like the N64.
Old school.
And, leading up to midnight, I hear barking coming from downstairs. So I lose my mind. This is like my 5-year dream. So I run downstairs, like sprinting, socks on hardwood level threat. I run downstairs to find my uncle holding a stuffed golden retriever, like a toy, and he's barking. I traumatized from that moment. I was like, this is never going to happen for me. My family hates me. The Lord is putting this in front of me to have me suffer and grow in character and endurance.
Oh my goodness.
It was the worst. And so, to be honest, I just never thought it was going to happen in my entire life.
Right.
Then out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, this is classic my mom move. We had these security cameras in our apartment building. So I grew up pretty poor. So I grew up in an apartment with my mom, shared a room with my mom till I was like 12.
Right.
So when she showed up, we had these security cameras all over the apartment building that you could tap into on your TV. You just like hit a certain channel and it will show you the security channels.
Right.
So I see my mom coming and my cousin's over at my house and I go, let's go to the elevator and we're going to scare her because that's awesome.
That's
So
awesome.
We're flanking the elevator doors. My cousin's on one side, I'm on the other. The doors open, my mom walks out and she's holding a puppy.
And what were your thoughts when you saw that puppy?
It was the great undoing of the Christmas disaster.
Did you have any like pain that was like, maybe this isn't real? That's my first reaction, is like,
oh, I thought I was in the Matrix for sure. I was like, I took the wrong pill here. I'm in the Matrix.
Right.
This is a dreamland. It doesn't make any sense. And there's this weird thing as a kid when you get a dog where you start wanting to do the things that you're not really going to fulfill later on. Like for some reason I was like, I want to take this dog out for a walk and like pick up its poo.
Right. Now it's...
And that doesn't last very long, but you start doing that. I want to feed the dog.
Right.
Like you start getting really hyped about those things.
What kind of dog was that?
That was a toy poodle terrier mix.
It was cuties.
He had a great mustache.
Like dog, like owner.
Exactly. I'm just trying to just fulfill the...
Most presidents of the United States
Yeah.
have had pets, and most of those have been dogs.
Right.
Only all but 3, I think, haven't had a pet.
So dogs run deep in terms of power.
Yeah, well, like what is it about there? I think there must be something about the illusion too,
Right.
because most presidents have like a campaign. You have to have this. So I think dogs pull well. What is it
100%.
about a dog that makes someone seem more likable?
Like I think the dog ploy is used everywhere. Like homeless people in the street, if they have a dog, there's something that it makes you be like, I have to give you money now.
Right. That's true.
Right? It's just a thing.
Maybe I should get a dog.
Yeah, you should. It'll
have
make you more likable.
So you've been into photography
Yeah.
for a while, right?
I've been there for a while.
Tell me about this photography. When did you get into it? Why do you like it?
So if I out of all of my personality stuff, like the personality assessments, you do all those.
Yeah.
Creativity has always been really huge for me, but I have never had creative outlets. Like I wasn't musical. I was slinging the piano in elementary school, but me and my mom had a fight about the fact that I didn't like to practice, but I could have been the next big thing. So that ended real quick.
Okay.
And then I picked up the alto saxophone. And I thought that was going to be it.
I played the alto is the smallest one.
Yeah.
I played the alto too.
Come on. We could have been something, you and I. And then I quit that also. And then I remember in grade 7, you're supposed to fill out whether you want to do home ec or if you want to do band.
Right.
And I thought home ec was easier. And then at the last day of school in elementary school in grade 7, I watched School of Rock with Jack Black.
That's a great film.
And I was like, dude, this is legit. And I went to go back and I told my teacher, can you switch my class from home ec to band? And I was like, this is awesome. When I got my grade 8 classes to go to high school, I realized that I got home ec. And then I realized my teacher is a liar. and he didn't actually switch them.
And
I could have been something.
now you're a great cook.
That's not true at all. So anyways, I've always been looking for some kind of creative outlet. It came through like graphic design. It came through a couple different ways. And then I really landed on photography. And that was like my big thing.
When was the first time you got a camera and took a photo?
I got a camera given to me when I was in high school from my mom's like colleague. He gave me a camera that was like better than I thought it was.
Whoa.
I was so narrow in like in terms of like what I thought a good camera was. So I took a picture and it looked like garbage, and then I assumed that it was the camera's fault, but it was my fault. And so
It's good leadership.
Yeah, it's called personal responsibility, and I did not have that. I just blamed it, which would be a reoccurring thing in my life. Anyways, so
so then you started then, and have you been doing photography, or there's been a little bit of hills and valleys?
No, yeah. So I had a Canon 5D Mark III, if that matters, for anyone, and then I would just run around and like take photos of literally everything. And then I really landed on it's so funny, early Instagram just became like, if you want to be famous, you just take pictures of like headshots of people gallivanting all over the place. And it usually is, this isn't like intended to be creepy, I'm not saying anything about anyone or whatever, it usually ends up being like a guy photographer with like a bunch of girls all over the place. And I thought that probably didn't mix well as being a pastor, to be asking all of these like models to go in places or whatever, which made me really lean towards like, let me just take pictures of mountains, because there's no weird thing with them. So I just jumped into like kind of landscape as like my main thing. And then that evolved. And then I got like another digital camera. And then I got into film during COVID because I was so bored and everybody just picked something up. And that was one of the things I picked up.
You didn't do sourdough. You didn't do...
No, my wife did. She tried to get into knitting. She got probably like 2 lines deep on a sweater and never touched it again.
Right.
That was like a $500 investment for sure. Lots of yarn. Anybody want yarn? Let me know.
Did you bring it through the move?
No, yeah, 100%. We're getting rid of that. We're selling that for sure.
Well, I just so happen to have some photos here, landscape, or some different photos.
Yeah.
And I thought, with your skill, because you've come a long way, because I've kind of seen you post photos and I think they've gotten better. So I want to know, and like we can dissect them. And it's like, what's good about these photos? Right. What do you like? What do you don't like?
Yeah, I'm going to be a disaster at this.
You don't? Okay, well, we're going to find out. Okay, so here's the first one. You see this photo? Yeah. We see a lake, some mountains. Yeah. Is this a good photo? Do you like it? Why?
Yeah.
Let's break it down.
It's good. So there's this like rule in photography called the rule of thirds. So if you could imagine 2 lines that are equal in between the photo, horizontally and vertically, at each of those points where those 2 lines meet is where there's an interest. So you can kind of see that this like bottom kayak thing is on one of those like meeting points, which is supposed to be like intriguing for you. And then the other thing that's important in these pictures is depth. So you don't just want like a one surface kind of photo. You want a foreground and a background. And so you have these people in the foreground that are interesting, and then you have this beautiful background. So in terms of like rules, this does the rules, which is why you would appreciate the photo. You think it's a good photo.
Any critique?
Maybe there's a little bit too much at the bottom, but...
Yeah, it seems like this middle line's like not on a third.
Right.
It's just right through the middle.
Right, which could be okay.
This is a cityscape. Yeah. I think you've done some city stuff.
I've done some city stuff,
What do you think about this one?
So... yeah, kind of once again, the rules here is, so you have a foreground and a background. So you have like depth to the image. And the other thing that's going on here is they call like leading lines. And so if you see on the left side, you see those kind of like, I don't know what they are, but on that building, like the pillars and that like thing, there's literally a line that leads your eye all the way to the middle of that frame. And then you get kind of like what you're supposed to be drawn to.
This building.
Right. Yeah. So the thing I liked about this photo and photos like this is it shows intentionality.
Right.
Here's what I want you to look at. And the whole picture is forcing you to like look at that thing, which is why it's good. Okay. Wow. Look at this photo. Yeah, this photo is like the panorama, probably on a phone. Doesn't look very high quality.
Right.
I don't really know what to look at.
Mm.
Do you just want me to look at the water?
Right.
Which is like, that's fine. I'm just not very compelled by this image.
It's not good.
It's not that it's not good. It's just there's a lot of there's other things that could have been done. If I was on Lightroom right now, I would have just do a quick little things, you know?
Okay. I got another one for you. How's this one?
Wow, this one as well. See, so this is just remember the picture that you showed me of the cityscape?
Yeah.
So this is the exact same thing.
Right.
Okay. So you see those palm trees? They're leading you to something, except for in this photo, it's leading you to nothing.
Right.
Because you look in the middle of the picture and there's nothing there.
Right.
So, anyways, it looks like it's a good try. Man, it doesn't do it for you, you know?
Okay.
So it's good. I like that these are the pictures that are coming up.
Why?
Because I'm pretty sure I took all these pictures.
What about this one?
This is what, 2012? Dude, I think this.
What about this one?
I think this is the first picture I ever posted on Instagram.
It is. So, yeah, those last two.
They're pretty early.
They're yours.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I know that.
And this was your first one.
This is my first picture I ever posted. You have to understand. Okay, so Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff is so new. This is cool.
This
is cool when it comes out. The border, that like chalky border, the like whatever the filter thing over top of it is, like a sepia, I don't know what it is this is cool. Like at that point.
This was February 4th, 2012. What about this photo? What's good about this photo?
Oh, it's the subject matter. Look at that. Look at those beautiful people in that photo right there. Now, in a critical thing, it's not good. So the reason why it's not good is because you want to give more space. Obviously, all these rules can be broken.
Look at all this wall space.
This is what I'm trying to get to. You want to create all of the negative space on the side where people are looking, not the side where they're not looking.
Well,
so if there was like a nice little photo or a mural on that wall or whatever, I also think at this point, I'm trying to like sneakily take this picture because you hired obviously professional photographers. And this is kind of like,
glad I did.
Why did this guy bring this camera? Like that makes no sense. But I think I was in that phase of like, I want to be able to take a picture too. Just like, you know, being super lame or whatever.
Okay, I got one more photo that I've went. So obviously, if you're not tracking yet, I went on Michael's Instagram and took all his photos, and now we're looking at them. But I got one more that I actually want to talk about. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is where everyone's trying to figure out like how to do Photoshop or whatever. So I'm pretty sure that picture's like the gondola of Whistler, like the peak to peak or something.
It's a cool photo.
Yeah, it's like cool for like what it is. Like you're trying to do these, what are they called? Like double exposure, but you just fake it in Photoshop or something. And I think there was like, yeah, you can see there's one underneath that I tried to do the same.
This was in March 2016.
Yeah.
And it got 142 likes.
Right.
So my wife liked it.
Yeah.
I don't think I liked it.
No, of course not.
So, yeah, good job.
Thanks.
So, that's great.
What a transition.
I'm done with that.
Okay, what's next?
What do you want to talk about?
Speed round. Movies or music?
Movies.
Spaghetti or pizza?
Pizza.
Water or mountains? Ocean or mountains?
Water. Ocean or mountains or like?
Ocean or mountains or lake or mountains?
I go lake.
Would you rather go on a vacation where you sit on the beach or you go on an adventure?
Beach.
Hats or beanies?
That's a good one. Hats.
That's all I got.
So you follow pretty closely with some current events.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Amber Heard.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on.
Right.
But I asked you a week or two ago, and I said, hey, you following this? And you said, yes.
Yes.
You said, yes, I am.
Uh-huh.
And I want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, there's always these kind of trials in generations that really just kind of grab public consciousness.
Like the OJ trial?
Exactly. And
do you have another one?
So this one, the reason why this one's so fascinating is because, so it's a defamation suit, right? So Johnny
This is getting intense.
Johnny Depp is saying that Amber Heard has illegally defamed him for something that is untrue. Okay?
Right.
So when you sue someone, a lot of the times those law courts you can't see them. There's no cameras.
Right.
But Virginia, where he's suing them, is live streamed.
Right. There's so much content out there.
Yes.
I'm on TikTok. It's like so much.
So that means his legal team decided that he wanted to sue a defamation suit in Virginia towards her. But you have to make a reason as to why Virginia is the spot. They don't live there. They have no connection there. There's no defamation done there. How do you get them to do it? So his legal team found out that the Washington Post, which is where she posted this article, has their servers in Virginia, which got them the in to do the trial in Virginia, which then live streams all of the court cases, which is exactly why they chose it to do it that way. Because it's not necessarily about who wins the actual trial. It's pretty hard for him to win the defamation suit, actually. But that's not what he wants. He wants public opinion to show that he's won, and that's exactly what's happening.
Right. It seems from my limited knowledge, everyone's kind of poo-pooing on Amber Heard like a lot.
Right.
Like the thing that I saw right now is trending is like my dog stepped on a bee.
Right.
And I just saw on TikTok a song, my dog stepped on a bee, and it was like a bee going around. It's like,
my dog stepped on a bee.
I disagree.
You want a piece of me?
I got a pig.
Yeah, it's gotten wild. I think the reason why I think this is important is because it does something to people where it shows, and I think all through COVID this has really been true, but it shows people's like innate longing for justice. Mm-hmm. And it also has, in a really funny way, showed people an innate, and this is so weird within the culture that we're in. And that's why I think this is like a really interesting microcosm. It also shows people an innate longing for truth.
Yeah.
So when they see her misspeak, or when they see her like misstate something, the reason why this is important is because there was another suit that happened in the UK. So there's a lot of like compare and contrast between the two trials. And so they're like, she didn't say that over there, and now she's saying something different. People like really jump on those moments because there's something about untruth. There's something about unreality that people are naturally really uncomfortable with.
Right.
But it is kind of funny that for most people, this has become like a really point the finger moment towards her. And at no point have people really taken this case and done any self-reflection. And I think that's what's really important. One, we all want to be famous. We all want to have more influence. We all want to have more money. We all want to do all those things. This is what happens. It's a disaster. It's loneliness. It's trying to feel something through alcohol and drugs. You create a community around you that actually isn't there to like build you up, but I can like deconstruct the rest of your life. And that's what everybody's longing for in being famous and doing TikTok and doing music and whatever. It shows you that like there's no grass on the other side of this.
Yeah.
And then it also shows you that as soon as somebody stops being beneficial for you, how quickly you could turn on them.
Right.
And that's kind of everything. It's this really like, it's so sad. It's so entertaining. But to just watch this and for a moment to stop like pointing the finger at her, and for us to really sit back and go like, man, lying is a huge thing in my life probably. Like, I probably just used people for what they can gain, what I can gain from them. Like you start doing those things, and that's where I think moments like this, we got to kind of sit with and just finally process a little bit. And that's why it's helpful.
I find that it's really like culture really just wants to find the line and then just really hone in on the line. Because if you look at this case, like, okay, public opinions like Johnny Depp is a great guy. He's mistreated. We all want Pirates 76 now because of Amber Heard. We can't get that, you know. But there's a lot of like, he was doing drugs, he was drinking. There's a lot of back and forth. It's not like he's completely, you know, at zero fault here. There's a lot of messiness, but we want the justice to say, no, you actually lied and you did something bad. There's the line. But on this side of the line, you know, this is the bad side. You know, you went past the line. You have to pay justice for this. On this side of the line, there's a lot of bad stuff that happened. And not that anyone's at fault for that bad stuff, but I'm sure them or us, or when we are dealing with that mess, there's pain, there's real hurt that comes from that. But we kind of ignore that and say, well, nobody did something wrong. I don't have an answer. I think that's really what society says. I don't have an answer for that, but I do know if there's a wrong, then there can be justice. And if we acknowledge that, that makes me feel good. You know, we know that there's justice. Over here, I don't know, just keep doing you is kind of our response. Like, hey, if you want to have a drink, have a drink. If you want to be with that person, be with that person. But it's like, no, those actions actually have consequences and will lead to something good or bad.
Totally. And he kind of talks about it a little bit. Like when the article came out the first time, the reason why it blew up is because one of his kids' friends at school brought it up to them. Like you never think about that.
Right.
Like their children are now having to hear about this when they go to school. Like
Right.
you're sitting there thinking you're going to do social studies or like math, and all they're doing is telling you about how horrible your dad is. Like the implications of this are so far gone because it's family, it's career, it's fame, it's legacy, it's money. It's like every part of these people's lives is now fully put on display. And the amount of people that are being dragged into it, it's like Kate Moss is being dragged into it. James Franco is being dragged into it. Elon Musk is being dragged into all of this.
Musk.
Like it's an insane thing for us to just look at and just go at some point and one level. I think theologically it does something really interesting because it affirms like, man, does sin really infest? And in every category of life.
Right.
And it just keeps spreading.
So as a pastor, what would you say to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial case?
From a biblical lens, I think what's really crazy is that by winning this case, they don't actually have justice. I think that's why the biblical version of justice overcomes anything that the world could offer, because what Jesus offers in true redemptive justice is not just the negation of sin, but the overwhelming of that sin with himself. It's not just that you become neutral. It's that you go completely net positive because you have him. And so in this trial, I think what's going to happen is like, sure, you're going to make a couple bucks, but that relationship's still broken. And the impact on your kids is still there. And the impact on your career is still going to be there. Those things aren't going to be overcome. And that's where I think, like, you know, in terms of the world's ideas, that's why Christianity comes out of nowhere and just completely overcomes all of them, because it tells you a story that nothing else could offer. So I think there is a piece of that, is when we just look at these people and through the heartache and all of this, like you really have to feel for what's going on. But yeah, I just think it's like, man, the justice that you were trying to seek, I don't really think you're going to get it. And there has to be another means. And to be honest, that's not by a human judge. So yeah, I think that's kind of my take. Hey, rapid question. Buzz cut afro.
Boo, buzz cut.
In-ear headphones, over-ear headphones.
In-ear.
Would you rather have a motorcycle or a limousine?
Limousine.
Would you rather go on vacation in Europe or in Australia?
Europe.
Would you rather compete in the 500 meter, which is an event, an 800 meter run, or race walk?
Race walk. Do you know I'm ranked in the Fraser Valley for race walking?
Currently?
No, but I came.
I love it when someone says, this is what is true right now, but it was 8 years ago. That's
No,
the age that you're getting to.
I race walked in high school.
And dominated?
That was pretty good.
I came second in doubles Fraser Valley badminton.
Both of these sports are not very widely participated in.
That is not true at all. Go to Asia and tell me badminton is not a big thing.
In the lower mainland in Canada,
Hey,
by males in high school.
agree to disagree.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, make sure if you like this, subscribe, hit the like button, comment. If you didn't like anything Michael said, comment that below. If you loved it, send me an email. And let us know if you want us to talk about certain things, do other stuff. We'll keep releasing episodes, and that's it.
Cool. Thanks for having me on.
You want one last line to leave everybody with?
Love you, Zach.
You heard it here first. All right.